Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are looking at the NFL slate for Saturday for Draftkings and Fanduel. We have a 10-game Christmas Eve slate, so happy Christmas Eve to everybody watching. Hopefully, you're staying warm wherever you are. We have a bunch of games with some severe weather, just with the cold and the wind, so we'll touch on that a little bit before I get into the plays, but let's get started. Always, if you enjoy the content, pretty sure for the like button, subscribe. If you haven't already, you can check out the links in the description to stay connected, website and Twitter there. So the first game you want to touch on is the Saints-Cleveland game. It is the ugliest game out of this 10. Going to see snow, pre-game, winds up to 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts there, sustained about 20 to 30. And deep passes will be almost impossible. You're going to see a lot of running. And neither offense has been very good. You know, with Watson's return, the Browns' offense has been even worse. And the Saints, they're out their best receiver in Olave, and they have very struggled to move the ball. So hammer the under in that game. Buffalo-Chicago is also going to be ugly. Very, very cold there. Feel like temperatures -10. Going to be some winds as well. Then you have some just cold and some winds in some other spots, like KC, a little bit of wind, but you still could expect some throwing in that game. Baltimore will be also a little ugly. Could see some running more in that game. But, you know, it's for probably 4 or 5 games have at least some wind or some severe cold impacting it. The quarterback plays for this main slate, your pay-ups, Allen, it'd be tough to get to him, I'd say, just with the weather in Chicago. Mahomes, he also is not dealing with the best weather, but has less wins there, so he looks better than Allen in my opinion, but I'm not going to pay that much for my quarterback this week. 6 and 7K range, Burrow looks decent. He's been very good recently. Return of Chase a few weeks ago, he hasn't missed a beat. Those guys continue to click, and last week he got every single receiver a touchdown. Options in the 5K range, you could look to Geno Smith if you wanted to at 58. Daniel Jones doesn't look the worst, just he's one of the few quarterbacks that gets to play in a dome today. But personally, I'm going all the way down here, and why not? When you get a starter that you don't expect to, you're going to get a very nice cheap price tag on him, and this guy, Gardner Minshew, has been a starter in the past and has typically done well when he's given opportunities. You know he wants to be a starter next year, so this could be his only game if Hurts is back, which we're not sure. He could be out for until the playoffs, but could be one of his few chances that he gets to prove his worth in the NFL to be a starter next year. So I expect him to go out and show out against the Cowboys. He might not win the game, but I think Minshew will still have a good game. And Eagles are talented elsewhere. You know, they have the most Pro Bowlers in all of NFL. So it's not like you're going to be worried about Minshew and the game turning into a blowout, because Minshew's a good quarterback, probably a lot better than some of these guys starting, like Zach Wilson. Other options, you know, that's basically it at the quarterback. I'm going cheap with Minshew. You have Tannehill out. I like Minshew a lot more than Malik Willis, obviously. Running back plays, no Willis. I mean, Willis is starting, no Tannehill. And when Tannehill was out for a few weeks, we saw Derrick Henry absolutely feast because he was getting the ball 30, 32 times a game. They were not throwing it at all when they were inside the 10, inside the 5. It was pounded with Henry every single time. You saw him have some nice touchdown performances, and that should continue. This matchup is excellent. It's the worst rush defense in the Texans, and not having Tannehill there is going to lead to more carries for Henry, and he's typically absolutely smashed against the Texans in the past, so he's my favorite running back by far on this slate. And then the other running backs that I'm looking at, 6K range and 7K range look decent. Stevenson's in play, Pollard is in play, Cook's in play. 6K range, you have some other cheaper options like Sanders. And then in the 5K range, even Elliott's in play. He's been steady, 15-plus fantasy points, typically double digits, even with Pollard having good games. But I'm going with Jerick McKinnon. He's done very well recently, just with the upside that he gives you in the passing game. So PPR sites like DraftKings, very valuable. Edwards-Helaire being on IR, he's been out for a bit, and we've seen McKinnon since week 13 just have a very good game after another. And with the weather it's not being the best, you could see some short passes to McKinnon. Even more, he's going to get the carries, handful, up to 10, 12 probably. And Pacheco did have another fumble. Might have been his first one. We'll check it out. But did have a fumble last game. Maybe leads to a little bit more work for McKinnon. But he also lost one back in week 10. But I still like him based on the price tag. I mean, they seem to utilize him more in like passing situations, obviously, and like red zone situations. So you could see more touchdowns from McKinnon, than Pacheco. Other options at the running back spot would be going to Dobbins in a game that good matchup against the Falcons. They're bad against the rush. Dobbins been splitting some work, but he's been productive in his last few games, over 120 yards in each spot where they should be running the ball more. Not having Lamar Jackson there, but also just with the fact that the weather is going to be poor. Moving on to wide receivers, Tyler Lockett is out. Olave's out. Not going to make too much of a difference in that game. Deebo Samuel's out for a few weeks, but he was out last game as well. So not having Lockett, it's going to make DK Metcalf look really good, I'd say. He's going to get all the number one carries. The number one targets. Expect probably 10 plus. Going to get more touchdown looks. Lockett was taking a lot of touchdowns away. He had a streak going. Sure if he got it last week, but he had a long streak going of consecutive games with touchdowns. Yeah, he missed it last week, but he had 6 straight before that. So hopefully that leads to more touchdown opportunities for Metcalf, more long passes to Metcalf, and he's still just going to get some more short, intermediate routes. Other number 2 receiver for them is going to be Goodwin, who looks good. 43 is expected to play, even though he does have the questionable tag on him. So I like Metcalf, and then another receiver that I like that's value is going to Carolina. I'm going with DJ Moore. Good matchup against the Lions' pass defense. Even though the Lions have played well, it's been basically their offense has been carrying them with the good play of Goff. Their defense is still giving up some points. They're giving up over 265 passing yards. And with Darnold back there, except for that one terrible game against the Seahawks, we've seen 2 good performances from DJ Moore. Touchdowns in 2 out of his last 3 games, 6 targets in each, and combining for 176 yards. A lot better than when he didn't have much of a quarterback option in the beginning part of the season and was on a very tough stretch from like week 9 to week 12. But at this price tag with the 20-point upside that it'll give you in a good matchup, I think he's definitely worth a flyer. And then the final guy I'm going to be looking at is also in the 5K range, and looking at maybe Juju Smith-Schuster. Still like this game, even though you're going to see about 10 mile-per-hour winds. Not going to make too much of a difference, I'd say. It's just the cold is going to impact it, but you can say that for almost every game out of the 10 that's not in a dome. And Smith-Schuster, lots of targets recently for him, 21 last few games. They're always going to score touchdowns, so he's always going to give you some touchdown upside. Only 3 on the year, but expect that to still be there. He's lining up on almost every passing route for them, and just with the short passes that he'll catch, he's going to get some good chances that he converts a lot of his targets into receptions, because he's typically not going to guy that's going to be stretching outfield and Mahomes is throwing 50, 60-yard passes to him. Typically going to be short passes, medium range passes, and this price tag with opportunities to get double-digit targets, I think he's definitely worth a flyer. So that's what I got on DraftKings. Tight end wise, Kelsey's expensive all the way up to 8K. I'm looking at maybe like Hawkinson, 49. Maybe looking at Dalton Schultz. Going in the 3K range, you have Noah Fant. Without Lockett, he should get some more looks. He's been good recently. And pretty much it. Defense wise, that's Saints Cleveland. Definitely the best spot to look at. So you have the Saints defense at $2,800 would be my favorite. And I think you could go down to maybe the Commanders if you wanted to, but still a little risky there. So you think Purdy will have a bad game soon. The Eagles, $2,200. They look good tournament-wise. They have a very talented defensive end. And on the defensive side, not sure why they're super cheap, just because they're on the road against Dallas, but still, I like the Eagles a bit. But it would probably be a nice option to pivot off the Saints if you wanted to. And then I'm not looking to pay up for a defense. So Saints, Eagles, they're the 2 that stick out the most. So that's it for DraftKings. Let's touch on FanDuel. All right, on FanDuel, pretty similar with the picks I'm looking at. Only difference is looking at Adam Thielen instead of Juju Smith-Schuster, just with the price tag on Smith-Schuster, 73. Save $700 going down to Thielen. Makes it work a little bit easier, in my opinion. But you still like Smith-Schuster on FanDuel. You have other options like Devontae Smith. It's pretty affordable. If you wanted to pair Minshew with him, you don't have to pair Minshew with anybody, just being that cheap. But I do like Smith's price tag on DraftKings on FanDuel. He's still in play. And then sticking with both Metcalf and DJ Moore again, with the price tags being still pretty favorable, especially DJ Moore's being barely above 7K. And then the running backs, still looking to get up to Derrick Henry on both sides. I say Dalvin Cook is easier to get to on DraftKings. And then looking as a value, still like McKinnon at 73 with the upside that he gives you, with the touchdown upside that he's been giving you recently. Dobbins, still a good option. Sanders, still a good option. You see a lot of the design quarterback runs from Hurts typically probably translate to more of the running back situation. Not going to see Minshew run double-digit times. And tight end wise, same deal. I think you can definitely look at Hawkinson at 6,000. You could go down a little bit to maybe $5,300 for Fant. Still looks pretty good. And then on the defensive side, the Texans look decent. The Saints look great. And FanDuel has the Eagles priced up where they should be at 44, so not much of a play there. But that's what I got. Stay tuned for more videos today. Hopefully you guys stay warm and stay safe. And best of luck today, and I will catch you all next time.